Hello everyone, it's Maddie with Spectrum Art Creations, and today we are going to be making this super fun waterfall journal. Yes, it is a great waterfall for inserting into your existing journals if you'd like. A beautiful way to be able to create additional photo spots or journaling spots for writing. And of course, it is also a journal that can stand on its own. It can be resized to fit anywhere you'd like. The steps that we're going to go through will break it down for you step by step on how this super cute, fun journal is going to work. The possibilities are endless, and you can use whatever paper line you have at hand. Along the way, we're also going to talk about different ways to create. I'm going to show you some examples on how you can add additional journaling papers as well, so that you can turn this into an actual spined journal. And of course, some tips and tricks. So let's get ready to craft together. We're going to start by looking at some of the materials we're going to need. The first thing we're going to need to do is we need to cut some pages for our signature pages in order to create the base, the structure for the album. So we're going to need some cardstock. Now, whether you want to use, A4 sheets, meaning, regular printer size sheets, or 12 by 12s, totally up to you. You can use either. Just make sure it's got a nice weight, of course, because we're going to need to have a nice strong base. Then as far as the color, you just kind of choose whatever matches. I am going to be working with this collection, The Hours of Longing, and I've already done a full flip through of this gorgeous collection in a video where I showed you the entire collection, including the 8x8s and the junk journal extras and all kinds of great chipboard as well. So this is what I'm going to be using. Because of that, I figure I'd get some of that black and kind of bring that in for the base, kind of like what I've done here. I just think that that would go really well, and it's pretty neutral with those great colors. So that's why I'm going to be using black, because I'm going to be using this collection. The other thing is, I am not going to go over what all of the dies pieces that we're going to be using make, because I've already made that first video in which I broke down what each piece does, how it looks, how you can use it to decorate, what the dimensions are, etc. So I will be sure to go ahead and put a link to that video at the end of this video in case you missed it. Also, I will put a link down in the description box down below, so you can go and watch that and find out what all of these other extra pieces are and how you can use them and get some ideas, because I did provide some examples and ideas in that video as well. Okay, so the first thing is we're going to go ahead and create our signature pages as well as our spine. So let's clean up. Now that we know what we're going to be needing, we're not going to need all of the pieces from here. We're just going to need a few, and then of course just some cardstock. So let's jump right into die cutting. Okay, so we're going to need to cut the following pieces. Now all of them are going to have the same width. They are all going to be 5 and 5/8. Then we're going to cut one that is 5 and 5/8 by 9 inches tall. The next one, again, 5 and 5/8 by 7 1/4 inches. The next one, again, 5 and 5/8 wide by 6 1/2 inches tall. And then the last one, we know, 5 and 5/8 by 4 3/4, right? Now, the other one that we're going to need is this little piece right here. It is 5 and 5/8. Oh, by the way, you'll notice that they will all stack on top of each other. So your width is all going to be the same. The heights are going to be different. And don't worry, the heights are correct. They're going to make sense when we move to some of the die cutting of our edges. But this one is going to be 5 5/8 by 3.5 inches tall. And that is going to be our header here at the top eventually, okay? So now that we've done that, we're going to go ahead and move on to scoring. So let's bring out the scoreboard. Sorry, I had to make a small adjustment here because I realized that I had scored it wrong. So I'm just going to interject this bit of a video with the correction. So this is the first piece, the one that is 3.5 inches, right, by 5 5/8. On this one, on the first one, we're going to score at 2. So come to your 2 score, 2. And then we're also going to score at 2 1/4. 2 1/4. Okay. And that's going to be the smallest piece. The rest, we're going to score at 1/4 inch. This part's going to be pretty simple. We're going to score everything at 1/4 inch. It doesn't matter which side you do for now because they're all just bases at this point. So they're interchangeable, but we're going to score them first so that then we know which one's going to be the top and which one's going to be our bottom. So whatever you're comfortable with, if you just want to do the math, like 3.5, you know, this would be 3 1/4 and just score. Or if you just want to come here on this side and just score at 1/4 inch, again, 1/4 inch. Okay, we're going to do the same thing for all of our pieces. Again, making sure, right, that they are all getting scored not on the 5 5/8 side. Okay, I'll show you what we're doing. We're creating the crease lines for each of our pages as they fold up. Okay, so again, we have the first one, and if it helps you to line them up this way and then turn them on their side and know that every one of them is going to get scored this way. So 1/4. This one is the one that is 4 3/4. Again, if you want to score at 4.5, fine. If not, just score at 1/4 inch on your left hand side. Next, the same thing. This is the one that is 6.5 inches. We're going to score at 1/4 inch. Or feel free to go on the right side. Okay, the next one, same thing. This is the one that is 7 1/4, and we are going to score at 1/4 inch. So you can score it at 7 on the right hand side if you wanted to. And then we have our 9 inch tall one, and again we're scoring at 1/4 inch. And I always usually go over my score lines twice just to make sure that I'm not pushing too hard, but that I'm getting a good score. So I'd rather do it in increments than to push it hard. Okay, so now, from now on, we won't be able to mistake these anymore. We know which is the top because we've got a fold line on all of them. See, that kind of takes the worrying out, because sometimes we get to doing things and then, and I've done it, before I know it, I've cut or adhered the wrong way and I'm like, oh no, I just ruined that piece. So now we don't have to worry about that anymore. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to be taking this over to a die cutting machine. Let me go get those 2 pieces to show you. So we are going to be using these 2 pieces here. I like to call this one the envelope, the stitched envelope, because it looks like an envelope flap, but it's got the stitched finish to it. And then this one I like to call the stamp notch, because it looks like a stamp, like a postage stamp, but then it's got the little notch on it. So what we're going to do is we're going to alternate. Okay, let me put them all in the right order so that you see them. Again, all of my fold lines are at the top. You can see that we just did. All the scores are at the top. We're going to take this over to our machine and we're going to do the following. We're going to cut this here, right? That's going to be the top flap. Then we're going to cut this one here. Then we're going to go back to this one, cut that one, go back to this one, cut the next one, and then finally cut that one. So we're going to alternate. Okay, so now that we have that hiccup fixed, we have our first page, and then we have all the subsequent pages. This one, if it helps you, just know that this is going to be your back and this is going to be your front. So the wider side is going to be this right here in the front. So if you want, you can even, put a little mark on here or something to kind of just a pencil mark to remind yourself that this is where you're going to be starting off by cutting that. And it's super simple to cut these. All you have to do is just kind of look at the left and the right side, and it kind of self levels if you just put the right there, put that edge right there, and then make sure that this is on the left and right side, and then just run it through your machine. It's super easy to cut those as well as these. Once again, just kind of line up left and right, and then line up your serrated notched side as well. Just make sure you're not, kind of crooked, but that you're nice and straight. And if you need to use a little bit of washi tape to hold it down in place, then that is yet another way that you could use it, or use your magnetic stamping platform. Okay, let's head over to our die cutting machine. Let's cut all of these out. Let me make sure I'm facing the right way, and then we will resume once we have those done. Okay, our die cutting is done. We have alternated between the envelope, the notch, envelope, notch, envelope. Okay, let me spread them out so it's a little easier to see. So they look like this. Again, all of our score lines are at the top on these except for this one, but again, we went ahead and used the die cut on the wider side. Now, you can, if you care about how the back looks, you can also use the same die and cut the back so it looks pretty, but it won't look bad if you just leave it straight. So I left this one straight on purpose so you could see the difference between the two. With that done, we can go ahead and either score these or set them off to the side. For now, I'm just going to set them off to the side, because the next thing we need to do is we need to cut our decorative mats. So for that, we're going to bring in whatever paper line you would like to use. You can use single-sided paper, you can use double-sided paper, whichever one is fine. And then the other thing that you need to decide is, for the prototype, I only did the front. However, if you want to, you can also mat the underside of each of the pages, which most likely in this one I'm going to go ahead and do. So I will be cutting two of everything, one for the front, one for the back. Not this. This is just one piece, but two of this, two of these, two of these. And again, if you want to make this really pretty, you can also do two of these. I probably won't, since I am most likely going to be inserting this into a journal. And again, don't forget that you can make these as big or as small, because these dies, this is as big as they go, but nothing says you can't use them this big, right? Nothing says you can't use them as big as that. So you can change these, the height, the width, by simply using the measurements that I am providing to you and scaling them down. Just remove half an inch or an inch from, your sides, or from your not only your width but your height, up to you to go ahead and just change up those measurements. The math is done, so all you have to do is scale down evenly, right? Okay, so now it's a matter of choosing some beautiful papers to decorate the inside and the outside of our pages. So I'm going to cut those out, and then I'm going to come back and give you all of the measurements, and then that way you can pause and get the same cutting, but I'll show them to you, because again, as I'm showing you the pieces, I will also give you the measurements. Okay, we have all of the mats cut to correspond with our signature pages. So the first one is going to be, they're all going to be 5 1/4 wide, by the way. So the first one is 5 1/4 wide by 1 3/4. That one's going to go on there. Next, Again, 5 1/4 wide, but this one's going to be 4 1/4 tall. And I did cut 2 just so that I could do front and back. The next one. There we go. The next one is going to be, once again, 5 1/4 wide by 5 3/4 tall. Again, I cut 2. I mean, all sides are gorgeous, so it doesn't matter how we mix and match those. Then we got our 5 1/4 by 6 3/4. So 2 of those beauties right there. And then finally, I've only cut 1. If you want to cover the back, you can go ahead and cut 2 mats. I've done the 5 1/4 by 8 1/4. Okay, so now that all the mats are done, well, guess what? We're going to repeat the exact same thing that we did before. So this one, we are going to be cutting here. Let me not hold it upside down so it doesn't get confusing. We are going to pretty much center. Look at your left, look at your right. If you want, you can use your 0 ruler. Again, my favorite ruler in the world because I don't do math. So simply by positioning this and moving it back and forth, you'll notice that, again, if you're not familiar with this ruler, there's 0 and then 1 and then 2 and then 3, and then it just kind of keeps going the same thing left and right. And in order to find your 0 and not have to do math, you simply start looking to see what is half. So that is not it. That is not it. 5/8. So 2 5/8 would be center. Okay, so if that helps you, there you go. Of course, if you do not have one of these rulers, you definitely need one, and we have them in store. So again, 2 5/8 on both sides is the measurement I'm getting. So this will be my center right there where the 0 is. And then I can put a little dot on there if I want to, and then just kind of, you know, use that. But honestly, super easy to simply just look at your left and right and, you know, either go this way, or, and then of course line it up here as well, just like we did the other ones. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to alternate. This one will get the envelope. This one will get the postage stamp with a notch, etc., etc. And then we will come back when we are done cutting all of those decorative mats. You know, I went to cut my first piece, and then I realized that I forgot to give you guys 2 quick tips. So 2 quick tips. Number 1 is make sure that you check your orientation. Right? In this case, it didn't really matter, and we did put the score line so we knew which one was up and which one was down. But in this case, you might have text, you might have a beautiful moth, or maybe some flowers. So be cognizant of that when you are doing your cutting your bottoms, right? The other thing I wanted to point out to you is if you haven't cut your mats out yet, it is important to note that you cannot put any kind of an image too high. So if your paper has an image like this one here, now, if you're doing your own and you're adding your rub-ons or your stickers or your ephemera pieces, then it doesn't matter because you can move them anywhere you want. But if your paper has images that you want to use, such as this, be cognizant of the fact that this is going to take up, you know, a good maybe 1/4 or 1/3 of the top off of your paper. So again, in this case, I cut this one and I'm hoping it's going to look okay once I come in with this, that it will not cover my moth. I think I'm okay, but just wanted to make sure you guys knew that as well. As you're cutting that top mat, just remember whatever image you have, you probably want it to be towards the bottom half. Okay, all right, those are 2 quick tips, and I'm going to go back to cutting, and I just wanted to make sure I share that with you so that we avoid not cutting our papers correctly. See here, I have some text and flowers, so I got to be really careful. On this side, nope, we're good. It wouldn't matter either way. Well, maybe those stems, no, but the stems could be coming down. So in this case, on this side, it wouldn't matter. On this side, it most certainly does. So I kind of have to make a decision as to which way do I want these to face. All right, I'll be back. Okay, I've got all of the mats cut out. This line is so beautiful, so easy to work with. All right, there's the other one. Again, being cognizant of the text. So when we flip up, the text should be facing up, not facing this way, correct? So make sure you've cut that right, as well as our images, but those are all ready. 2 of those are ready. 2 of these are ready. And then 1 of those. So our next step is going to be to distress. So we're going to bring our ink pads out, whichever is your color of choice. And then we're going to talk about what we need to do next, because there's some things that we need to consider before we start adhering. So let's go ahead and ink up, and then once that is done, I will come back and resume, and we will discuss our next step. Okay, all of the panels have now been inked, so they are ready to be adhered. However, before we do that, I wanted to go over some ideas with you. Here, for example, I just went ahead and added the word journal, which is included, is part of the die set, and it's included, so you could decorate that way. I've used a couple more of the die cut pieces that are included, and I've added some buttons by just kind of threading them through, but you could make closures as well. So before adhering your mats, you can think of how would you like a closure. Like, for example, would you like a button here and a button here, and then you can just close it that way. You could also go through the back, you could go through the side here in the front, right? You could just put your ribbon here, and that would hold down all the other pages pretty much. Of course, you could do metal closures. You can do all kinds of super fun stuff with this as well. And if you're going to be inserting eyelets and brads, again, do you want to hide them underneath of the panels? You can do that now, or you can do that after, especially brads, so you can hide the prongs underneath. So say, for example, if I inserted a brad here, I would open up my prongs and then put the second cover here on the back, and then we won't be able to see those. The same thing if you want to create any kind of flips or pockets. Do you want to hide those so that when you open here, there's another flip that flips up? Well, hide that behind the panel, correct? So, or even side ones. You could do 2 gatefold ones this way. There's so much that you could do to continue to add from here. Like I always share with you guys, I give you the basics. I show you the idea, I do all the work, the measurements, all that stuff for you, but you take it from here and make it your own, right? By adding, I also wanted to share with you before we move on to that, some other ones that I have been working on, because I'm kind of excited about a prototype that I've also made. Now this one alternates, so I wanted to show you a different finish, alternates, but then the bottom is straight. Again, in case you wanted to make a big pocket, if you're going to be gluing this into an album or a journal and you want to use it like a waterfall almost, flip through and then create pockets, you could also make that straight or even insert it this way, right, into your album. So that's one look that you could do. Another one that I thought would be fun is, where is it? This one here. So on this one, what I've done is I have just used the envelope flaps over and over and over again. So again, or you could just use the postage notch, right? One, and just create all kinds of cool waterfalls like that. Then another one, yeah, I kind of, once you start playing with it, your brain's just going to keep going and you're going to want to keep coming up with even more ideas. In this one, I alternated, and I've already even cut my mats, super pretty paper. But what I've done is I've left smaller spaces on here than on that one. So this one is smaller, see, much, much smaller, by shortening those spaces in between each of the pages. So this one's ready to go. Oh, also I wanted to show you, in this one, I used the spine die, and I simply cut the spine this way, right? And then here on the back, I still have the holes, but I can create a panel and just go ahead and hide this underneath. So that's a quick way of getting that done. You can even go a little wider, go this way, and then adhere your panel or some kind of a decorative trim up here and hide the holes. However, those holes can come in handy. Why? Well, let me show you why. My next one is the one that I am most excited about. Yes, I know. I've been playing a lot, as you can tell. Well, I always like to experiment because different, measurements will give you different results and different ideas. And so you want to play with them. But this next one, it's still in its very, very infancy as far as a prototype is concerned. But I figured, well, we've got our gorgeous signature, right? This one is great, but it creates a flatter album. What if we wanted to insert pages? And plenty of pages as that, like we had done in the previous one using this die. Remember when we did that other one? And if you've missed it again, you'll get to go and watch that one after this. So I started creating this other prototype. You still have the cascade alternating, right? But now we've got a 1/4 of an inch gusset, so we can actually adhere that on there. And now we have a totally different album, right? We have an album that opens up this way with pages in between each of these. So super cool. And again, we can make it face this way, or we can make it face that way, whichever way. So here's a way to be able to add pages onto your journals as well, or onto your waterfall. So super cool to be able to do that and use that actual spine. So you see, you can continue to play with these and do all kinds of fun closures and additions to it as well. But what we're going to do now is we are going to adhere the panels. If you wanted to still insert not a whole bunch, but some sheets in here, you most certainly can. So again, if I was to add some pages here in between, say 2 pages per each of these, it would close perfectly as well. So you can add pages without widening your spine. Okay, let's go ahead. I hope that was enough ideas. I'm going to finish adhering this, and then I'm going to come back and we are going to take a look at it together. If as I am adhering I think of anything else, I will pause and come back and we will discuss that as well. But of course, as I always tell you guys, stay tuned till the end because I always have more information for you, as well as maybe some ideas as to what is coming up next. Oh, you know what? I just thought of an idea. Don't forget that if you want to make any of these side tucks as well, side pockets, you certainly can, right? Simply adhere, adhere, adhered, and then you can even notch this on the side to kind of match that if you want to, and have, some tags or something sticking out here on the sides. That would be super fun. Also, if you want to create additional flaps, don't forget to simply give yourself maybe a 1/4 of an inch extra, and then these could have a flip, and then the other one would be underneath of it, right? So imagine this has got, again, a little bit of like a 1/4 inch, and of course we've scored it, and then we hide that behind this one when we go to glue it, and then you could have a double flip. It would flip this way, and then it would flip that way, right? So again, play, play, play. Have lots of fun with it. All right, let's continue on. Before I forget, I wanted to make sure that you guys obviously know that there is a score line there that we had created. Oh, I think I have some adhesive there. Hold on. I'm glad I brought it up to the camera. I'd almost missed it. Okay. Silicone tool to the rescue. you have your score line, right, that we had done. So make sure you center your papers. Don't come all the way this way. Otherwise, well, number one, you're going to notice that there's going to be a huge gap, but also make sure that you're not adhering anything on to that score line so that when it comes time to put it together, it all will flow and open up easily for you, okay? Okay, the panels are all adhered, front and back, on the ones that needed it. So now we are ready to put our project together. So very simply, we're going to grab what we had already created, our fold lines. Not that this one needs to be folded, but we still want it to be flexible. Again, in case you're going to be adding it to another substrate or another, background. And that one just tore, but it's okay because it won't matter because we're going to glue them all together. Okay, and we're going to fold this one back as well and forward. I just want it to be nice and flexible. And then we're going to glue that one on to this one right at that fold. And we're going to do that for all of them. And then when we get to the front, I'll show you what we're going to do with that front. Again, you want to make sure that you're not adding too much adhesive so that it actually closes that fold line. And all you're going to do is line up left, right, and top, and they should nestle perfectly on top of each other. We can use our ergonomic bone folder. And like I mentioned, that wouldn't matter because it was going to get glued anyway, you see. And then we can open it up kind of quickly just to make sure we do not have any glue in case we need to clean anything. Looks nice and clean. We're going to do the next one and so on. Again, paying attention. I'm not gluing them in the wrong direction. Okay, nice and pliable. Adding glue here, and that's why it's so nice to have that score line because we can see exactly where we are going and we do not need to go past that point. Well, I certainly hope that this has proven to be a fun and easy project for you guys. Yet another way to use the die set. Of course, the possibilities are endless, like we had talked about in the first video where we use this die. It's just, there's so many amazing pieces that the possibilities are great because you can use them in combination like this, or you can use them in all of your other projects. I love sets that give you that flexibility and those extra uses, right? Somebody just messaged me. I'll get that in a second. Okay, again, lining up my top with my left and my right and making sure I am pinching it to ensure I have, go ahead. Oh, I opened it too soon. Too soon. It was not ready. It was not glued. Give it a second. Art glitter glue is super fast, but not that fast. Okay, that should be good. Good, no extra glue anywhere. Beautiful. And then our last piece, we've got 2 score lines. So we've got one. Oh, I kind of glued that on a little bit crooked there. Hopefully it won't look too bad. Okay, now we're going to glue this with the score line all the way at the top because that other 1/4 of an inch, it's that flexibility that we need, right, when we open up our pages. So again, 1 score line in the front, 1 score line at the top, no score lines on the back. And once again, I remind you that this one I cut with a straight line on the back. You can also do a decorative finish if you want to, and of course decorate the whole back and add additional pockets and all kinds of super fun stuff. But we're going to glue this down. To glue this down, we're going to glue the whole thing, okay? And again, let's see, did I look out? I didn't even pay attention. I did. We can see our beautiful moth there in the front. So yay for me. But yes, sometimes it's good to have these pieces cut so that you can help to measure and see where things are going to fall. The same thing, I should turn off that phone because now they're messaging me back to back to back. 1 second. I'm going to turn off the volume on this. There we go. Okay, and then we're going to bring this up here, line it up with that crease line, line it up on the left and the right, and press down. Like so. Okay. I like to do my front first before I do my back, just to make sure that everything looks good. I hate to add all kinds of glue and then kind of realize, uh-oh, you know, and then you have even more to tear apart, right? Get some of those little glue bits off of the back. And while that's drying, I feel confident that it looks good. Again, you can use even your SACs angle cutter if you want to, and if you want to create, you know, a nice little, like, you know, cut there, you can. But this also helps to reinforce. And if you wanted to create a tuck spot, by the way, you could have done that here too. You could also do one in the back. So you could, do I have anything that I can? Yes. You could just glue that and then create this as a tuck spot, right? So, you know, possibilities are everywhere. That's the fun of what we do, that the possibilities are endless. Okay, obviously I did not turn down the volume, so I apologize. This is why sometimes I have to do voiceovers, because when things start to go, they just go nuts, right? The volume's all the way off. Huh, how odd. Let me turn off the notifications there. And clean up. Clean up here on the sides. Looks good. Yes, yes. Okay, and this should be a here by now. So now I'm just going to work that up to make sure we have a nice crease line. See that? How it just opens up beautifully. Page after page after page. And oh my. Now I did mine in this orientation, but it's not to say it couldn't have gone in this orientation instead. And once again, we've got all those great elements to decorate. One of my favorites is this one. If you missed this one, it is on the other video. Actually, you know, since I kind of glue that a little bit, I mean, it's like 1/8 of an inch off. Nobody would really be able to tell, but if I want to, I can bring that up there and that would look amazing, giving it something. I can bring all of my tickets. I can bring my little bits as well. So there's tons that I can come back and decorate with. Not to mention, let's not forget that the line has chipboard elements, so I can add some clocks. I can add some frames. I can also use my junk journal bit, right? My junk journal extras, and use all the great pockets that are included in the collection, as well as all kinds of tags. Oh my goodness, I just remembered these right here. Look how great that would be. Or the, oh, I can number my pages. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Cool. So yeah, all kinds of stuff. Great fun. So again, if you missed the walkthrough on this one, you can go check that out. We'll link that also as well, so you can view this beautiful collection. So I will give you both videos. But once again, of course, I like to remind everyone that if there's anything that you've seen here that you would like, we have 2 online stores ready to serve you. We have spectrumartcreations.com or sacscrafts.com for short. And of course, we also have our Etsy store, also under the name Spectrum Art Creations, all one word. So make sure you check both of those out because they both have different items in them, as well as be sure to join us on Saturdays for our live sales right here on our YouTube channel. Just come back to this channel and you can join us live. You can shop live, you can chat live, you can play games and enter giveaways and see product from around the world, all from the comfort of your home. Also, if you are on Instagram, make sure that you give us a follow on Instagram. And if you are on Facebook, join our Facebook group. Our Facebook group is Spectrum Art Creation Friends. Don't forget the friends at the end. It is a great place to come and share your makes as well as be inspired by others and meet tons of like-minded friends. Make sure that when you request to join the Facebook group that you answer the questions. Of course, we like to remind you that if you like this kind of video and you would like to take it to another level and have more in-depth classes, workshops, and live tutorials, we'd love for you to join Spectrum Art Creations Academy. SACs Academy for short is a place where you can get all kinds of extra perks. You get classes and workshops, exclusive videos, craft nights, game nights, craft alongs, and so much more. We would love for you to join the Academy. I will leave some information at the end of this video for you to go and check out all the information about the Academy. Of course, if you've enjoyed this video, we would love a like. And of course, we would love a comment for you to let us know what was your favorite part. Do you like it? Did it give you any ideas? What was your favorite part? Etc. And of course, do not forget, if you are new, to subscribe to our channel for all of these reasons, including our live sales, additional tutorials. We go live more than one time a week sometimes, and we do live craft alongs. So we'd love for you to become part of the Spectrum Art Creations family. Thank you so much. Don't forget to check out this next video for some additional inspiration and ideas, and we will see you in that next video. Bye.